Hey guys, this is Charlie McGing and welcome to Health Tuesdays, the series where I talk about a subject in health, one aspect of health and a way that you can improve your health to increase your energy levels, your performance in your life, your brain health, your cognition, all of these kind of things that are linked with good health. So today's episode is going to be about insulin. So insulin is a very important hormone in the body and has a variety of kind of effects in the body. But the main one and the main thing that it does is it transports substrates like carbohydrates and protein into the cells of your body. And insulin is spiked when you eat carbohydrates or protein. Now, there's a variety of different things that can happen when your insulin is spiked, and it can have different effects on your health. So basically, as like an overview, if you have very high insulin levels all the time, then that is a bad thing. The reason for this is not only over time do you develop insulin insensitivity, which means your insulin doesn't work as well as it should do anymore, so it doesn't actually push them substrates, them carbs and proteins into your cells. That is a big problem. But then, because then your insulin gets higher and higher and higher, not only does it do that, but it affects your brain health. It can actually reduce your cognition. It can make you tired. It can just reduce the health of your brain, make it inflamed. If you want to learn more about how, in depth about how insulin affects your brain and your health and your mood and stuff like that, read a book called The Ultramind Solution by Mark Hyman. And so that goes into detail about how it affects your body and your bodily functions, and specifically your brain. So I'm not going to go deep into that because otherwise this video is going to be like 2 hours long. But just take my word for it that chronically high insulin levels do have a negative effect on the brain and your mood, and can even cause like stuff like depression and things like that. So really high insulin levels can be bad for your health. Lower insulin levels are generally correlated with better health, so better brain cognition, better better memory, better health, vitality, energy, and stuff like that overall. So you want to try and keep your insulin levels low, as a kind of whole throughout the day. The other factor is that insulin actually acts as a hormone in the body to kind of increase your muscle growth. So there is that factor to kind of put in as well, because if your insulin levels are low all the time, then basically your capacity for muscle growth is limited. So you do want to spike your insulin sometimes, and but I'm going to kind of go through a protocol with you here in order to get the benefit and the good effects of insulin without the bad effects. And I'll tell you that basically in a sec. So basically high insulin levels are bad, low insulin levels are generally pretty good. So I'm going to show you another quick thing now with my whiteboard about how spikes in insulin can affect your body, and they can actually decrease your testosterone and kind of fuck up your concentration and things like that as well. So here's my beautiful whiteboard. You can see that. Shit. Keeping it real here. Dropping the whiteboard. So what happens is that say here you've got your little chart, and this is insulin. This is insulin, right? So basically what happens is you wake up in the morning, so you're here. So this is where you wake up, right? When you wake up, your insulin levels are generally pretty low. So when you wake up, insulin levels are low. Say for instance you have a very high carbohydrate breakfast with little protein, little fats, because protein and fats can slow digestion and so reduce the effect of insulin. So if you have a very high carbohydrate breakfast, your insulin spikes like this. So you have lots of carbs, your insulin spikes, and insulin is a hormone that kind of takes a while to kind of calm down. So basically insulin is a response to blood sugar. So as you put a lot of carbohydrates in your body, your blood sugar goes up like this, your insulin spikes, and then your insulin gradually goes down. But say if you have a very carbohydrate breakfast with little fiber that doesn't have good effects on your blood sugar, what happens is your blood sugar comes down like this. So your blood sugar is now here, but your insulin is up here. And so basically what happens with this effect is that because insulin, its role is to drive blood sugars and proteins into the cells, it's still driving blood sugar into the cells here. But you don't actually have any blood sugar left in your blood because it's run out, because you just quickly had a lot of carbs and then the carbs have gone. So you don't have any more blood sugar entering your blood. And so what is going to make up this difference? Insulin still taking substrates out of the blood, but if there's nothing in the blood, then your body has to make up for that. Otherwise, I don't know, I guess you just like die or something. So basically what happens is, to make up this difference, your body starts to dump blood sugar into your blood. And so the way that it does this is by increasing cortisol. Now cortisol basically is a hormone in your body, like insulin, that dumps loads of sugar into your blood. It spikes when you have do lots of exercise, and it's very normal to have cortisol in your body to help you deal with times where you need to exert a lot of energy. So cortisol is good, but say if this happens and you've still got this insulin, low blood sugar, a huge amount of cortisol is then dumped into your bloodstream. And so this cortisol here is the kind of stress that you get when you have a really high carbohydrate breakfast or something, and then an hour or two later you start to feel really hungry, you start to feel really stressed. That's when you get the hangry type of thing, hungry and angry. So that is kind of the problems with high carbohydrate meals. So we don't want this, because cortisol, as I've said before, is a stress hormone. So it causes a lot of stress in your body, causes a lot of problems, and it takes a lot of energy for your body to kind of produce all of this cortisol. So if you're constantly doing this insulin spiking throughout the day, you're going to have high levels of cortisol throughout the day as well to kind of help you keep up with that. And so your general energy levels are going to be a bit fucked up, and also your testosterone is going to be a bit fucked up too. Testosterone and cortisol, say if this is testosterone and cortisol, when testosterone is high, actually forget that, that's not right. So when testosterone is high, cortisol is low. So if you have low cortisol, then testosterone is high. And when you have high cortisol, then your testosterone becomes low. So this stress of cortisol actually reduces your testosterone. So if you think about this and you keep spiking your insulin throughout the day and you're having to use a lot of cortisol to kind of keep up with this insulin, this like low reduction of insulin, then you'll find your testosterone levels will be considerably lower. And this is why kind of higher fat diets and kind of making sure that you control your insulin throughout the day is going to help you a lot. So how do we kind of get over this? So, you know, what you could do is just not eat any carbohydrates throughout the day. Just have protein and fats. Protein doesn't spike cortisol. Doesn't spike insulin as much. And then you won't have high insulin. You just have low insulin, and that is that. But the issue with that is carbohydrates are very important. They are important macronutrient. They do help to, you know, in the production of serotonin, which makes you feel happy. And they do help with, you know, storing of glycogen in your muscles, which is very, very important for bodybuilding. So what do we do? And I'm going to kind of give you a protocol now, which I follow, which you know, means that I can still eat carbohydrates without spiking my insulin too much. Now, the way that I do this is I have 2 main carbohydrate meals a day. The first one is at breakfast. I find when I wake up, I have to have some carbs to refill that glycogen, which is like the storage of carbohydrates in the liver and muscles. I have to have that in order to perform well throughout the day. So what I do when I wake up, I have my water and I have alpha lipoic acid, about 300 milligrams of that, and I have chromium picolinate. And so by having the alpha lipoic acid and the chromium picolinate, this increases your insulin sensitivity a lot. And basically it means you need a very, very small amount of insulin to be able to shuttle them carbohydrates into your cells. So I wake up, have the alpha lipoic acid, have the chromium picolinate, have my high carb meal, which is going to be like a few bananas and some sweet potato, followed by my high fat meal, which is going to be like chicken, beef, some pork or whatever. So that's my breakfast. I find my insulin I don't actually feel any sort of insulin spike when I do this. And so I can keep my insulin low while still having them carbohydrates. So the key here is increasing your insulin sensitivity. So later on in the day, I do my work and whatever. Later on in the day, I'm gonna go and work out. So pre-workout, I have a bit of sweet potato, not very much. Because it's later on in the day, I've been moving more, and exercise and moving and stuff increases your insulin sensitivity. So I've been moving more and I've been doing more stuff throughout the day. So I have a little bit of sweet potato pre-workout with some sort of high fat meal again to give me energy through my workout. Then I go really hard during my workout. I can eat some bananas during my workout because I'm doing so much exercise, insulin sensitivity is going to be very high as well, so insulin is not going to spike very much. And then after my post-workout meal is where I'm really going to kind of smash the carbohydrates. So just before my big carbohydrate meal post-workout, I'm going to have 1 more tablet of alpha lipoic acid, 300 milligrams. So that along with the exercise and my workout increasing my insulin sensitivity, added on the alpha lipoic acid, it means you know, my insulin is hardly going to spike at all, even though I'm having a massive carbohydrate meal. Now, the reason why I'm having a massive carbohydrate meal post-workout is because after you work out, you want them substrates to be shuttled into your muscle cells. You want the protein, you want the carbs to go in there to help rebuild and grow the muscle. So I'm having a really high carbohydrate diet. I have about 4 sweet potatoes, which comes around 600 grams of sweet potato. Have that all in one go. Hardly feel the insulin spike there because of working out an alpha lipoic. And then I'll just have like my high fat meal again, and then something high fat with nuts and whatever before bed. So that is my protocol to keep insulin levels low, get the benefits of the increased brain cognition, the health benefits, the longevity benefits, and the energy benefits, while still having quite a large amount of carbohydrates in my diet. So that is pretty much going to be a whole video on insulin. There's loads of stuff I could say about insulin, but this is kind of the main things to kind of get you started and get you understanding how to increase your health through managing insulin levels. This isn't, you can still just eat your carbs and eat your macros and whatever without kind of thinking about this insulin thing. But I found that doing it this way, I can stay very, very lean, and the increased energy that I get from it means my performance is better in the gym. So that's how it increases my fitness and stuff that way. But mainly, this is Health Tuesdays, so this is mainly about health, and you don't have to follow this to get very good results in fitness. It just may help a little bit. So that's it, guys. Thanks for listening. I know it was a long video, but it's very important and something that is going to help your life and your health a lot. So that's it, guys. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, comment below. Like this video if you found it useful. Share it around to your friends and stuff if you feel like they should know about it as well. And I'll see you next week for Health Tuesdays. Thanks.